Welcome to Tip Tuesday. Today we're going to look at how to make your Excel outputs for custom reports look a lot better. So we're going to start with this summary report, and I'm going to clone it. And so if I put this open, you're going to see that this is something you can see on a regular basis where we've got 2 rows of data, and if we hit preview, it works. The problem is that if I try to push this out to Excel, that means your company and manufacturer are going to be in one column, same with the model number. So that's just not going to be acceptable. So one of the first things you'll need to do is go to your page setup and adjust the paper size. So we should be able to work well with 17 inches of width. We hit OK. And what this lets us do is copy the manufacturer over to here. And we can tighten these up a little bit. And if I hit preview, we now get a nice little 2-page report, lots of bars and stuff. And so this is another thing, is anything with bars or anything like that is generally not going to look all that good. So we will go ahead and take that line object out, and that'll help things look a little bit better. So this is what it looks like. Now, at this point, it's very important to understand that whatever this looks like, this is going to be basically you take a snapshot of this and paste it into Excel. And that's what it's going to look like in Excel. So if we save this, and make this as a report, and it's going to go directly to Excel. Then what I can do is I can reload all settings, do this gauge summary Excel, and we'll drop that into documents. And so if I go to my documents and pop this open, you can see that you've got spacing up above here, you've got the spacing down here. This spacing was caused by those gaps that you saw around the border. And so we've got this header information. There's just a lot of problems with this report when you view it in Excel. So we're going to start going through things. So the first thing we want to do is open our report back up. And we are going to get rid of as much spacing as we can. So if I go to my page setup, and we've got this page spacing, that looks fairly good, but on the margins you'll notice we have 1/4 inch margins everywhere. We're going to get rid of those. So we're going to change all of these to 0. And what this is going to do is that's going to get rid of any spacing around the edges. We've also got this large footer. We don't need that. We're going to get rid of that. Looking at this header prints at every page, but with Excel you don't want that. So we're going to change this to a title. And we're going to grab everything in the header, and we'll move that up into the title. And so we can really even get rid of the header and the footer entirely. So this by itself is going to start making things look better. We also want to, we've got things slightly out of line, so we can grab all of those items, get those lined up properly. We can nudge them up a little. All these little things to get rid of stray spaces, anything like that helps out. So with that done, I can save it, come back here, reload all settings, and we'll get version 2 of this output. And so if we look at our documents, here's version 2. So you'll immediately notice we've still got this slight bit up here, but things are looking quite a bit better. I don't have any, I've got one funny little gap right here, but things are looking a whole lot better. So we've got a couple oddball things. We've got a line across here. We can get rid of that. But you'll notice if I try and copy and paste this stuff or sort this stuff, these objects are spreading out. So what I'm going to do is look at the width. So my default width is 42 pixels, and it's always going to output to 42 pixels. And this is where we're going to do some math. So what happens is if we pull open our calculator, the key thing here is there are 72 pixels per inch. So since this is 42 pixels wide, I can say 42 divided by 72 means if I change all of my stuff to be 0.58333333 inches wide, then each of these things will be in exactly one column. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, get rid of this line. I'm going to do Control-A to select everything. And I'm going to make the width 0.583333333333. And that makes things much more consistent. So I can now start lining things up again. I can line these items up. And I can also take advantage of that 0.58333333. So I can make the left edge 0.58333333. And then the next one would be point. So we'll copy that, and that'll be our left edge here. And we can keep doing that. So So 1.75. And so we can keep doing this and just grab everything and just bring it all over. And you can, if you want, use keyboard shortcuts, drag things around, precisely enter things. you might want to use an Excel spreadsheet to even figure out what these numbers should be. So if I zoom in quite a bit, so we can see that looks about right. That looks about right. And so I'm just making sure these things are married up perfectly, or as closely as I can get them. At the same time, you can check and make sure, the top here on these objects is 0. But you'll notice this gauge is not at the top. So that could move up, and then we can get all of these objects moved up. And we can move this up. And so we've now got something a little bit better yet. Now, from normal preview perspective, this looks like garbage. But, and you'll also notice I've got all of these, the auto size is turned off on all of these, so that's important. However, if we now reload all settings and do our third version of this report, now you'll notice that we've got something that's looking a whole lot better. You don't have that mystery header up here above line 1. We do have this weird tidbit here. And this is actually coming from having a little bit of space at the bottom. So if I come back here and hit preview, you notice there's just a little bit of space underneath the word fluke down here, and that's what's causing that blank line. So one thing you could do is work extremely hard, figure out exactly how many lines you want to get in here, and get all of the heights exactly the same so they absolutely perfectly don't have any left over. That gets a little more tricky for obvious reasons. So you can see here we've got a whole bunch of items here. So we'd want to get this gauge listing the same height as everything else, probably the same font. So that becomes trickier to get rid of that. But it's the same thing with 72 pixels per inch. Figure out how many inches for how many items we have here. So if I change, so these are 12 point, let's make this 12 point. Slide all of this up. Hit preview, and so we've got a little more of a gap, but now I can kind of look at things and go, okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. There's 70 items, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 70 minus 14. It's 56 plus 2 gives us 2 header rows. And so we can actually come back and look here and say, okay, well, these rows are 18 pixels high. So what we'll do is we'll actually just adjust the height. So times 18 pixels divide by 72 pixels per inch gives me 14.5. So if I make my height 14.5 inches in my page setup, that might just get rid of everything. And that doesn't look right. But we will try it. So if we make this and hit preview, nope, that's too big. But you can see where I can now start playing around here. So let's see what happens if I do 10.9. Ah, that looks pretty good. That looks about right. That's close to what we're looking for, so I can go ahead and save this. And come back out here, reload all settings, export this to Excel, and if we open that up, scroll down, and you'll notice we do not, no, we still have a slight gap, but you can see we've gotten it much closer to what we want it to be. And so now it just becomes a matter of just playing around a little bit to get that gap to disappear. And so this is your key for Excel, is 72 pixels per inch, no margins, everything the same size, and just get everything lined up perfectly. And if you do that, you can get your data exporting to Excel and looking fairly good.